I don't think it is in the interest of the United States and the West to actually destroy ISIS. I do not think so. Okay, I think ISIS is a big bogeyman in order to increase more control in Western societies. So, I mean, I wouldn't say that ISIS is working for the Americans, right? But I do believe that ISIS's presence is in American interests.
Francia, Germania e Gran Bretagna. Questi paesi europei con la più alta percentuale di musulmani, che dopo i fatti di Parigi e Copenaghen sono al centro delle cronache internazionali, tutti o quasi senza distinzioni. In Gran Bretagna sono il 4,8% della popolazione, oltre 2.700.000, la seconda religione più diffusa, dopo quella cristiana. A Londra oltre 1 milione, il 13%, e le moschee presenti sono 379.
One of the biggest issues that is affecting the Muslim community is the fact that we have not reached the state of maturity yet. So, and that is an evolving process. One of the biggest obstacles to reaching that state of maturity is Israel.
After 9/11, there was a huge reaction against the Muslims, and even Muslims used to come here and ask us about Islam. People before that just assumed Islam to be a peaceful religion, but I think 9/11 changed that. And when they came to ask me what is Islam, I used to say to them is that before I can tell you about Islam, you have to understand what is faith and what is religion. Unfortunately, what has happened is that the Muslim leaders, for different reasons, have corrupted the teaching of Islam, and therefore they have interpreted the religion in a very negative way. But it is principally because of political reasons more than anything else.
L'Islam da molti è considerato come il nemico dell'Occidente, senza un'analisi della sua complessità.
We get this question a lot, and we feel like that we have to make excuses for ISIS, but we can't because we don't represent them. You know, we are Muslim, and what they are doing is not Islamic, because you know, in Islam is a peace-loving religion.
Their way of thinking is an aberration. It is not something that is found in Islam, but it is something that developed in Saudi Arabia, whom the West support, okay, and whose efforts to spread that ideology they did not oppose. I think ISIS is just being nostalgic. I think they're just being nostalgic. I think they just they think that they can repeat the rapid expansion of Islam that took place after the passing away of the Prophet.
We all underestimated how, you know, the kind of can of worms that has been opened by the uprising in Syria, the insurgency, and the ability of the regime to hold on, to reinvent itself. So they're already paying a price, and then I have a real concern that it will get worse. That indeed, you know, anti-Muslim sentiments will really take hold and become part of a common sense response to more terrorist attacks.
To be honest with you, I sometimes find that there is more prejudice between Muslims themselves than the larger society. And sometimes what is happening is some people who are looking for a bit of glory are using Islam's name to promote themselves. If those two people had murdered in any other name, they wouldn't have got global publicity. But as soon as you use the name of Islam, you get global publicity, and more criminals, I call them, are now beginning to understand that concept.
You have in this society, for example, a very large and growing Muslim underclass, okay? And when you are growing as an underclass, when you are the victim of racism, when you are always being criticized and marginalized because of your religion, okay? I think eventually what happens with these kids is that they lose a sense of belonging to their community, You see? And it becomes quite easy after that for an enemy of your community to turn you against your community.
We've always lived in a plural society. You know, the Western society ideals are not very much Islamic, but there's ways of living around that. You make those choices.
Lo scontro più acceso si è creato sulla libertà di espressione, ma non tutti i musulmani la pensano allo stesso modo.
I think Western societies have to realize that we live now in multicultural communities, okay? And many people in these multicultural communities are not like West Europeans, white West Europeans, who don't have a respect for religion. It's not that they don't believe in religion, they don't have respect for it. When you don't show respect for religion, people could do crazy things, you see? I think Pope Francis sort of indicated that. He said, look, you know, if somebody tells me something obscene about my mother, right, he will get one of these.
I never read it, but I felt offended that anybody who is going to mock the Prophet Muhammad is going to hurt my feelings. But at that time I was young. I went on a demonstration, a march, I'd done everything. But now, I wouldn't do that. You know, I respect the fact that, okay, somebody who doesn't believe in Muhammad as a prophet has the right to mock him.
Here in the West, we promote freedom of speech in a big way. But freedom of speech must come with responsibility. What happens is that when we abuse the leaders of faith, any faith, it doesn't matter which faith it is, there will be a reaction from the people of those faiths.
Freedom of speech, I believe, means freedom to criticize. Does not mean freedom to insult. You know, and for people who are trying to say that freedom of speech includes freedom to insult, I think they are really denigrating and degrading the idea of freedom of speech. I think they're asking for it. I don't support the idea of people attacking people with guns and stuff like that, but you're asking for it.
Yes, of course I felt hurt because it's a prophet that is dear to us. You know, he hasn't done anything wrong to be, you know, insulted in this way. But it doesn't justify that whoever did the cartoons, Charlie Hebdo, that you go and kill them in this way.
Con un aumento del 75% dal 2001 al 2011, sono sempre più i musulmani che vivono nel Regno Unito. Questo però non può e non deve far pensare ad un futuro pericoloso.
The problem can only be solved if our political leadership are responsible. And when they become responsible and they take away self-interest and look at the bigger picture, look at how you can have peace in society, rather than every time there's a small problem we send troops out, I think that is when peace will come to our society.
Unfortunately, I see things getting worse, right? I see things getting worse. I think what we need to do right now in the West is to make alliances with progressive Muslim forces, even though you might not agree with them in terms of your policies, okay, in terms of ideology. For example, I think it is foolish for Western powers not to make alliances with Iran, for example, in combating ISIS. I really do think so. I think Western societies need to start showing a more restraint and greater respect, you know, for other religions, not just Judaism.
Even if it was a conspiracy, if those people claim to be Muslims, you know, they should look back into the religion and see, is this what your religion is telling you?
It has to happen. I don't think we can live in constant conflict, because I think it will be the people of the countries who will then bring about change. And I think that change is a must for the future.